Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Jessica Nicole. I am a self-published author of YA fantasy romance novels, and in today's video, it is Vlogmas Day 20, and I am going to be sharing with you guys my book collection. So I am going to be going through my physical books and audiobooks. Those are the two formats I own books in. I've been thinking about getting a Kindle. If you have one, let me know if you use it, if you like it, if you think it's worth the money. I'm only going to be going through audiobooks that I own myself, not ones that I downloaded for free from the Audible Plus catalog, just ones that I bought myself with my own money. And yeah, I'm going to start off with my physical books. So here we go. I'm going to start off with my current read, which is Midnight in Everwood by M.A. Kuzniar. It is a historical fantasy about a girl who loves ballet, like she lives for ballet, and that's what she wants to do with her life. But she's kind of a part of the upper crust in society, and her parents don't think it's proper for her to still be a ballet dancer. She's in her early 20s, I believe, and so they want her to be married off. And so their new neighbor, Drosselmeyer, moves in. He is basically the talk of the town because he's mysterious and wealthy and a talented inventor. But something happens, which this isn't a spoiler, it's on the back. She's transported to this magical world, and so she has to basically find her way back by midnight. At the point, I'm not very far in the book, I'm about 8 chapters in, but I'm at the point in the book she's kind of deciding that she's going to take her life into her own hands and not let her father dictate it. I've been highlighting in this book like crazy because I love it, and that's just this sure sign for me that a book is great. Like, I don't know, it's hard to do this with one hand, but I have been highlighting like crazy. Like, you can see down there some of it, and I'm highlighting whole paragraphs, as you can see, because the quotes in here are just amazing. And this is just resonating with me a lot because basically this book, what I'm getting from it is it's about daring to dream and chasing your dreams, and it's just really resonating with me. I think it's a great book to read like at this time of the year when the year's ending and the new year's right around the corner, and we're thinking about new things we want to do in our lives. And I don't know, I'm just really enjoying it. So you'll see more of it in my 24-hour reading vlog. Okay, and then a book that I also read in December, For the Wolf by Hannah Witten. This is a dark fantasy romance, a Little Red Riding Hood retelling with elements of like Beauty and the Beast and Snow White as well. Basically, Red lives in a kingdom cursed, plagued by this like forest that holds monsters at bay, but it only holds the monsters at bay because they give it a sacrifice to the wolf every year. So the wolf is basically the warden of the forest. He kind of, keeps the forest happy, so the forest keeps the monsters at bay. And the first daughter is for the throne, the second daughter is for the wolf. Red is the second daughter, so she's sent into the wilder wood to basically die. But she doesn't die. She ends up finding the wolf, who learns that he's not the monster that he was painted to be, and she helps him with the burden he has. I don't want to really say too much because I don't want to give too much away. And they uncover like some crazy stuff in this book. It's wild and amazing and so beautifully written. And I actually have the sequel to this book, so I'm going to talk about that one next. Oh, and the guy in here, Eamon, he is like top tier book boyfriend. He might be like my favorite male guy in a book. I'm just a sucker for a tragic hero. And then this book, For the Throne, is the sequel to that. So this is a duology. It focuses more, I think, it goes back and forth between points of view, like what I've noticed from flipping through it. I'm going to read this one in January. I had originally said I didn't think I wanted to read this one because it focuses a lot on Red's sister Neve, and I don't really like Neve. She was very grimy and suspect in book 1, but let's see if she can redeem herself. So this one follows Neve, Red, Eamon, this guy named Solomir, and Rafe, which is like Neve and Red's like childhood friend, and Neve's like childhood love. Alright, I also have read, I'm going to go through the ones I've read first. which is pretty short. I buy the books faster than I can read them, okay? Cinderella is Dead by Kaylin Byron. I love this book. It's about a girl, our main character, Sophia. She lives in this kingdom where, like, the story of Cinderella is basically law. It's not a fairy tale. And it's used as a way to kind of control the behavior of girls and women. Girls have to go to this ball where they are selected to be wives, and that's basically the ambition of their lives, and their husbands can treat them any way they see fit. It's just really not a fun time, and like Sophia wants no parts of that. She wants to carve her own path in life, and she does, and she ends up just discovering some crazy stuff and shaking some stuff up. I did a lot of highlighting in this one too. Really great quotes, and Kaylin Byron, from the one book I've read of hers, she crafts like really great, fun, relatable characters that feel real. And so, speaking of Kaylin Byron, I have 2 more of her books here that I'm planning on reading in the new year. I have This Poison Heart and the sequel to This Poison Heart, which is This Wicked Fate. So basically this duology is about a girl who can control plants. But apparently bad things happen when she controls the plants. It's sort of like, I don't know, it get like dark, eerie vibes from it. She inherits this house or this manor, and apparently weird stuff starts to happen. So I'm excited to read these. Love Kaylin Byron, like I said. The only other book of mine that I have read so far, physical book, is Go the Distance by Jen Kalanita. If you watched my November like reading wrap up, you know that I did not like this book very much. It is a middle grade book, but I've read good middle grade books, and yeah, I'm not really a fan, but I have it. I bought it because Hercules is one of my top 5 favorite Disney films, and I keep it because of the same reason. But I might take this to my classroom. I haven't decided yet, and just let the kids have at it. I don't know. But this is basically Meg's story from after the movie ends. They kind of take the ending of the movie and twist it a little bit. So, you know, at the end of the movie where Hercules is like, I'd rather stay on Earth with Meg than be a god. Well, Zeus is like, no, you are not allowed to do that. If she wants to be with you, she needs to become one of us. So this is Meg's journey to become a Greek god. She fights monsters and travels to the underworld and has to like confront things from her past, like her like cheating, unfaithful ex, who, you know, that story is not everything it seemed it was at the beginning. So yeah, it had good bones. It just wasn't executed too well, and yeah, I hate saying anything bad about a book because I'm an author myself. I know what it takes to, you know, put yourself out there and create a story, but you know, it is what it is. Okay, the next book I have is actually a collection of 3 books. It is the Fair Isle Trilogy, which is 3 books in one. This is by Tessania Odette. It is that thick, so I'm gonna sit it down, but basically the premise of this is there's a human girl forced to marry a Fae king, and she has to kind of navigate that situation and make it work for her. I think there's like an enemies to lovers romance situation going on in here, and I can't wait to read this next spring. We'll start over here. I've got The Cousins by Karen and McManus, and this is basically about 3 cousins who barely know each other because their parents were disowned by their grandmother, but one day their grandmother writes them letters asking them to come work at her like luxurious resort for the summer, and the parents are like, yes, you're going, because they're trying to get back in the will. But when they get there, like strange things start happening. Pretty sure people start dying. And I'm looking forward to reading this one probably next summer since it's set in the summer. I kind of like to read seasonally if I can, because sometimes I don't know, if I don't, it kind of kills the vibe for me. Okay, this is Scarred by Emily McIntyre, and Scarred is the story of, it's basically a dark a dark contemporary romance based on the story of Scar from The Lion King, but like they're real people from what I can tell. I've read like chapter 1 online just to see if I wanted to buy it. The there's a princess coming to their kingdom to marry his older brother, but his older brother is, I think, the one who scarred him, I'm pretty sure, and him and the princess fall in love, like the younger scarred prince and the princess fall in love, but the princess, or I don't know if she's a princess or not, but she's sent there actually by her family to take down this family, so I don't know why she sent there to do that, but we gonna find out. Okay, and then I also read, where is it? Not seeing it. Okay, I'll come back to that. The other one by her that I got, she's got like 3 or 4 books like this. The third one in the series doesn't really appeal to me. These are like not interconnected. They're just kind of like the same premise, standalones. But she's got one coming out about like Jasmine and Jafar called Twisted that I think I'm going to get. But this is Hooked. It's basically Captain Hook, but Captain Hook's love story, but like, you know, contemporary dark romance. And from what I can tell, like, Wendy is Peter Pan's daughter. I don't know if it's like his daughter with Wendy or if it's like the Wendy from the story, but she's his daughter, and Hook and Peter are eternal rivals, and so Hook is gonna kind of use Wendy to get back at Peter, but he ends up falling in love with her or whatever. So that's that one. And then I have this, which I was just in Walmart browsing and I saw this on the shelf and I picked it up. Lightlark, from what I can tell, it's basically the Hunger Games but with fantasy. There are like these kingdoms, and every so often like an island appears, and the kingdoms are all cursed, and so they have to go to this island and fight to the death, I think, to try to break their curses or win something. I don't even know what's going on, but it sounded interesting when I read the premise, and so I'm thinking I'm gonna read that one this like May. I had these planned out, like I have like 2 physical books planned out for each month, so I'm thinking I'm gonna read these together because they're both like royalty situations. I'm gonna read Hooked in January along with For the Throne because I need to see how this like duology wraps up. The other 2 books I have here, I'm probably gonna read these in February. These are also a duology, and I'm getting to the point where I don't want to read any series that's longer than like 3 books. Like 3 is my max. I've got Once Upon a Broken Heart, and the sequel to it is The Ballad of Never After. Basically, these 2 are about a girl whose first love is about to marry her cousin. So she calls upon the Prince of Hearts and makes a deal with him to kind of like get her love back, but the Prince of Hearts double crosses her or something, from what I can tell. And so this is that story, and I think the 2 of them end up falling in love. Like I think it's like a love to hate you type situation going down with that one. And then the last physical book I own is actually my most recent read. It's the one I finished most recently, and I went through this book so fast, like so much faster than I expected, because I just could not stop reading it. It's called Promises and Pomegranates. It is a dark contemporary romance, so keep that in mind. It is very, very dark, and yeah, make sure you look up the trigger warnings for this. Anything that I say is a dark romance, make sure you look up trigger warnings for it, just at your own discretion. But this is based on Hades and Persephone. I love Greek mythology, so I decided to give this a try. It's like a mobster romance, and I just really enjoyed it. Like I did a lot of underlining in this one too. So many good quotes, and the character development for both of the main characters is top notch. And this is by Sav R. Miller, if I didn't say that already. These 2 are by Stephanie Garber. I know I didn't say that. And I think I said all the rest of these. Lightlark is by Alex Astor, who I've never read before, but hopefully I like this. I feel like I'm gonna like this a lot. I feel like I'm gonna like all of these, that's why I bought them. But yeah, I'm taking a chance on this one. I hadn't really heard anything about it before. All the rest of these I've heard good things about. But yep, those are all my physical books. Now on to the audio books. Okay, so audiobooks that I have, only the ones that I have purchased myself. So I'm gonna start at the bottom here. Alright, I have the entire Darkest Minds trilogy by Alexandra Bracken. I have The Darkest Minds, I have Never Fade, and I have In the Afterlight. My favorite one of these was Never Fade. I think in trilogies I always like the second book the best, and I always like the last book the least. Like, it's just how it goes for me. I also have, oh, this is the story, this trilogy is the story of basically a not so distant future where basically all the kids in the world die except for those who have like a genetic mutation that affects their brains. There are like 5 sets of powers you can have, and certain ones are manageable. The people in power believe those are manageable. Like, there's telekinesis, there's electrokinesis, there's like just advanced intelligence, there's pyrokinesis, and there's mind control. So the pyrokinesis ones are the reds, and the mind control ones are the oranges. And basically, the reds and oranges are hunted down and killed. The other ones are kind of kept in these camps. The yellows are the electrokinesis, the blue are the telekinesis, and the advanced intelligence are the greens. So kept in these camps and, made to work and basically treated like prisoners and animals for no reason. Our main character, Ruby, is an orange who basically hides the fact that she's an orange, and pretends to be a green until one day she's discovered and she kind of has to go on the run. She meets these other kids who become her family, and it's basically the story of them trying to survive and protect each other. And it's found family at its finest. I love found family tropes. They are my favorite. So, like I said, this one is my favorite out of the trilogy. I have A Deal with the Elf King by Elise Kova. I love Elise Kova's writing style. This is basically about a girl who lives in a village where it's touched by magic because it is so close to like the fairyland, and so to keep the balance of the fairyland and the human land, the humans there are given like the fairies. I don't know. The humans there are given like extra long lives because of how close they are to the fairyland, and the fairyland is given like it's how they maintain their magic. So they kind of need each other, the humans and the fairies, or the elves, or whatever. But it's more than elves. But anyways, so every so often a bride is born and she's sacrificed to the elf king, and forced to sit on this throne and just supply like the fairyland with magic. And our main character, Luella, I think her name is, she basically doesn't want to do this, and so she's like, give me 3 months and I'm gonna find a way out of this. And so her and the elf king work together to kind of try to find a way out of it, so that they can like divorce each other and go on about their business. But along the way, they end up falling in love. Okay, and then I've got Little Thieves by Margaret Owen. This is a retelling of The Goose Girl. I love this book so much. I loved it way more than I thought I would. This is about a girl named Vanya, and she's basically been unlucky her whole life, or told she's unlucky her whole life. Her mother gave her away to death and fortune, like literally death and fortune are her godmothers, and they take her to work in this affluent household where she is mistreated, and this like anger and resentment grows in her, and so she becomes a little thief, and she uses a disguises herself as the daughter of this affluent family who they have like a frenemies situation going on, and so they both kind of like grow as people. But yeah, and she learns so many life lessons along the way. There's a little romance in it. that's like not super on the nose, and I really enjoyed it. I just like this book a lot. Alright, and I have The Hazelwood by Melissa Gilbert. Not Melissa Gilbert, I always say that. Melissa Albert. She, in this, I think this is her debut novel, and it's really beautiful and haunting. It's about a girl named Alice, and she has grown up her whole life with just her mom. They move from place to place all the time, and she doesn't know why. Until one day she learns why. Her grandmother's stories that she wrote and became famous for aren't just stories; they're alive, and like they're coming after her. And so it's kind of like that journey. It's got a super adventure vibe to it. The only thing I will say is that it takes a while to get to that point. Like there's a lot of meandering through the plot before we even get to like the good stuff, in my opinion. So that's my only complaint with that. I know this one has a sequel to it, and I read the sequel to it, and I didn't really like it. So I just like think of it as a standalone. I have the entire Cruel Prince trilogy, and the second one is my favorite. I have The Cruel Prince, The Wicked King, and The Queen of Nothing by Holly Black. This is about a girl who watches her parents be murdered by a fae and is whisked away to the fae land and basically raises his daughter along with her two sisters. The reason the fae killed her is because their mother was his wife, but he's not her father. Um, it's kind of about her finding her footing in that world. She dreams of being a knight, and she has to endure like Prince Carden and his stupid friends because they pick on her for being human. Well, they bully her. It's really, I don't know. It's kind of like extreme the way that they treat her and her sister. One of her sisters is half fae, but her and her twin sister are full human, so they get treated very poorly. Um, but like it's like extreme enemies to lovers, um, and it's kind of like I don't know. At some points I was like, no, like I hated Carden, the prince in the Cruel Prince. I hated him in book one. Like I didn't even want to keep reading, but I'm glad I did because I really enjoyed the series, and like his character development is top tier. Alright, I have House of Salt and Sorrows by Erin A. Craig. This is a 12 Dancing Princesses retelling, but with like a murder mystery twist. Basically, we follow one of the sisters as she tries to figure out why her sisters keep dying. And when she figures it out, it's a doozy. This is a cool fantasy world too. There's deities and just magic and spells and all kinds of craziness going on, and I enjoyed it so much. I will say there were parts of this book that were really scary, like that I was not expecting, especially like typically I listen to audiobooks late at night.